Guys, I know it's shaky. I'm trying to get ready to get out of here. I'm going up to the shop, but I wanted to talk to you guys about something because there is something that I find both flattering and frightening. And I've had several people tell it to me. Jeremy Morris was the last person that told me, and Jeremy is an awesome guy, and he wants to support what I'm doing. And when he says it, it's not only flattering, but like I said, it's terrifying. He said that I'm an inspiration to him, and that's why he supports me the way he does. Hang on a second, I gotta grab something in here. We're gonna go get in the car, and we're gonna talk about this, because the thing is, I don't think that I should inspire anyone to do what I'm doing. There's thought that has to go into it, and a lot of things like that, because it's terrifying. It's terrifying. I don't know from week to week whether I'm gonna be able to pay my mortgage. So that's what I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna get in the car. We're gonna talk about this. This is just kind of a rambling vlog of what I'm thinking. I am looking for the super glue to put my finger back together again because it busted loose and it's bleeding. So I need to super glue that finger back shut. But we'll get in the car and we'll talk about this a little bit more. So what I was saying is, I don't like to think of myself as an inspiration to anyone except maybe my daughter, because the thing is, there's a lot of thought that has to go into what I decided to do. And I don't mean sharpening knives at a living. I'm talking about going into business, and it's terrifying. And there's not a day that goes by I don't wake up in the morning in a panic and think to myself, usually it's on a Monday morning, more so than any other day of the week. But I think to myself, what did I do? What did I do? But the flip side is, I went to my daughter's ice skating the other day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Those are things you get to pick and choose, and you have to be ready to accept the consequences of your decision. That's gonna drive me nuts. Not because you can see it, but because I can see it. There's thought that has to go into it, because like you guys, I decided to do this business, and it wasn't something that I just jumped into. I had thought about it for months before I actually did it. And then I did the insurance thing for a while to kind of offset costs, which didn't work out very well. I only made about $5,000 with Aflac in almost a year. And that's not their fault. You know, that's not the company's fault. I was an independent agent. It was all 100% my ability or inability to make a deal with a business owner. But what I'm saying is, if you decide you want to go into business for yourself, you better have it planned out ahead of time. I had put $56,000 away over the last few years in preparation for this. And we spent more than half of that in the last year since I went into business for myself. And there's still things like, you wake up and you're like, holy crap, am I gonna fuck up my taxes? And am I gonna screw up my taxes? And are they gonna take everything away? What happens if I can't make my mortgage payment? What happens when there's a month that nothing comes in? And it's terrifying. It's terrifying, but the flip side of it is, I'm so much happier. This was done, 90% of this was done based on my mental well-being. I could no longer continue to do what I was doing and remain sane. And it's a horrifying thing to basically wake up the day that you made the decision and you quit a job that paid well, and you realize, I don't have any other option but make this work. So you have to have both the mental resolve and things like that to be able to do the things it takes to run your own business. 90% of this, like I said, was based on the mental well-being thing, and the rest of it is based on a promise I made my father. So, I mean, you have to weigh options. Like I said, be prepared, have a plan, know what you're going to do. I don't have a website. I planned on not having a website, but there are things now that now that this is progressing, I need to do. I'm going to file for a small business loan, because I have up till now been offsetting the cost of running this business by using my credit card. Well, problem is, I've run our credit card up to half its limit, which I promised myself I would never do. That card was to be used and paid off immediately. So I have to do these things that, you know, you have to do. And I would also advise having a mentor. I've mentioned him a couple times, Jack Holder at the insurance agency where I was out of, the insurance office. He would give you these little things. He's a very successful, he owns his own business. He's really successful. And he would give you this advice, you know, you have to be willing to do the stuff you don't want to do to be able to do the things you want. And I look at it that way. Right now I'm in that grind. I'm grinding to get this off the ground. But the fact is that every month it seems to get a little better and a little better. And so these are the things that you got to be willing to do, like waking up on 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday to go work on stuff for a customer, or to go grind a knife, or wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning because you want to have the afternoon off. You get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, start sharpening knives because you want to spend that Friday evening with your daughter or your significant other, or you want to go out to dinner and things like that. And then there's weeks where the money just doesn't come in and you're like, okay, well, guess what? I'll work on what I've got to work on during the day, and I'll clean the car out and I'll drive Lyft for 3 or 4 hours tonight. It's uncommon in this society today to take responsibility for the shortcomings. You know, there's a big thing. Everybody wants to blame everybody else for their failures. They didn't give me enough time to prep. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. They. And what they're not looking at is the common denominator in that equation, which is the you. The me. The me part of that equation, a lot of times, is what causes failure. You know, it's society today, people are more willing to just go do nothing and hope that things get better than to actually work for something and make something of value for themselves. My grandfather ran a farm. I saw it every day. He didn't want to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and do things, but guess what? I guarantee that he would not have gotten anywhere if he had just sat and sulked about it and hoped it would get better on its own, because guess what? It doesn't. You get a tumor, you can't just sit and wish it away. You have to physically go out and do something to make your life better. So I wanted to say these things because I've had, and it's not just Jeremy, and it terrifies me. I have people saying, oh, you're a role model for this and that, or this and that. I'm like, no, please. I'm a horrible person. Deep down, when you get down to it, I'm a horrible person. You guys get to see, I'm one of those likable, horrible people. I'm not the horrible person that you see that you're like, God, I want that guy to get hit by a car. And that's the quandary here, where I hear people say, oh, you're an amazing guy, you're so nice. I'm like, no. Maybe yes, I like everybody, I love all of my subscribers, but the fact is, I know how horrible a person I can be. I've heard the jokes I tell and things like that, and things that I've heard myself and know I've done. So it's terrifying, but it's also, like I said, it is a huge thing to hear someone say that about you. And you know, and I know you guys are probably laughing about it. I cannot tell you how much that one sentence, "You're inspirational," is amazing. And then I think to myself, I've said the same thing when I've sent messages to other YouTubers that have a good message. And I think about the things that I am saying right now, and 100%, if you were to go and find some of Matt Carricker's videos from Off the Ranch, do something today that makes tomorrow better. Do something today that makes the things you do in a year better. And as long as you're moving forward, you're great. And he says that, and I hear it, and then I realize that I've been telling my daughter that for the better part of 10 years. Since she was old enough to start doing things and doing something and get frustrated. And I told her, always be happy with how far you've come. Never be satisfied. And another thing that I've told her, and it translates into her skating, there's girls that can't get their double axels and can't do these things, and they're like, oh, it's just because Isabel's not scared to try it. That's not the case. I told Isabel when she was 2 years old at a playground one time. No, she's about 3. 3 years old at a playground one time. I told her, because she didn't want to climb on something, I was like, I'm right here. Don't be afraid to fall. And she's like, and I was like, okay, it's okay. Be afraid to fall. I was like, don't listen to what I just said. Be afraid to fall. And she looked at me funny. She's just a little kid. And I was like, being brave is not about not being scared. Being brave is about being scared and doing it anyway. Because the only thing that will hold you back in life is up here. And if you're afraid to try, you're not going to go anywhere. So, all right, guys, it's been about 11 minutes. I'm almost to the shop. I just wanted to... These are things that bounce around in my head, and I might do these more often, just these little vlogs. Because there's things that I want to tell you guys that just, I can't do it. I can't focus on it and think about it while I'm sharpening. Because there's other stuff going in my... There's stuff that goes on in my head when I'm sharpening. I'm like, that's the angle's wrong. I gotta hear this, gotta feel that. And I can't focus on it. But driving's like second nature. You know, I can talk and drive. I do it on the phone all the time. So I thought this would be the perfect venue. I have like a 20-minute drive up to Chris and Elliot's. I started the video about 5 minutes into it. I'm almost there. So, guys, you guys take it easy. And I will talk to you next time.